Today, we're diving into sepsis. It's a medical emergency that is just so dangerously misunderstood. This is where the body's own defenses, the very systems designed to protect you, end up turning on you, and with deadly consequences. So it all starts with this one central question. How on earth can a simple, common infection actually trigger a chain reaction so catastrophic that it shuts down your entire body? Well, that's the mystery of sepsis we're about to unravel together. All right, first things first, let's get a really clear understanding of what sepsis actually is. Because here's the thing. It's not the infection itself that's the real enemy here. It's the body's chaotic, completely overwhelming response to it. This visual right here, it pretty much maps out the whole deadly journey. You see, it can start with something that seems manageable, like pneumonia, just a localized infection. But it can quickly, and I mean quickly, spiral into this massive systemic crisis that hits every single vital organ, leading to what we call septic shock. So let's break this chain reaction down step by step. First, you've got your source of infection. Step 2, the bacteria or germs from that infection manage to escape and get into the bloodstream. Now, this is where things go haywire. It triggers this enormous immune response, causing blood vessels all over the body to become leaky. That leakiness, step 3, leads to a massive drop in blood pressure, and blood just can't get to the vital organs. And that's the final, devastating step, organ dysfunction. So, to put it as simply as possible, sepsis is the body turning on itself. The immune system, in its effort to fight an infection, just unleashes this flood of chemicals that cause widespread inflammation, and it ends up damaging its own tissues and organs. It's basically friendly fire on a catastrophic scale. Now, because sepsis moves so incredibly fast, identifying it becomes a desperate race against the clock. So first responders, they immediately start looking for signs of shock, which is the body's big flashing red alert that it's failing to circulate blood and oxygen properly. Responders really have to act like detectives here. They're rapidly trying to figure out the cause of the shock. Is it from blood loss, what we call hypovolemic shock? Is it a spinal injury, neurogenic? Or is the heart failing, cardiogenic? Or is it what's called distributive shock, where those leaky blood vessels mean the body just can't keep up the pressure? And in this case, the culprit behind that is the infection, sepsis. And the body's warning signs, they really tell a story of a desperate struggle to compensate. The pulse just skyrockets as the heart tries to pump harder and faster. The skin gets all pale and cool because blood is being shunted away from the surface to protect the core organs. And breathing gets really rapid, trying to suck in as much oxygen as possible to fight off acidosis, which is this dangerous buildup of acid in the blood. Every single sign tells you the body is fighting for its life. Yeah, that increased pulse is a massive early warning sign. You've got the heart just working itself into overtime, trying so desperately to keep the pressure up while the whole circulatory system is in total crisis. And then there's this one. Any confusion or change in mental status is an incredibly critical red flag. When the brain isn't getting enough oxygen, its main command center starts to shut down. That's when you see disorientation, lethargy. It's a really bad sign. So the moment sepsis is suspected, the race against time kicks into high gear, right there inside the ambulance. The treatment has to start immediately, long before that patient even sees the inside of a hospital. But here's the thing. Treatment is definitely not one size fits all. For adults, a responder might be pushing large volumes of IV fluids to get that blood pressure back up. But for a child? Oh no. Everything is meticulously calculated based on their weight. We're talking down to the milliliter. Giving too much fluid can be just as deadly as too little. It's an incredibly high-stakes balancing act. So, if you boil all this down to one critical takeaway in the fight against sepsis, it's this: the non-negotiable importance of time. Every single second counts. There are no do-overs. We tend to think the real fight begins in the ER, but with sepsis, it truly starts in the back of that ambulance. The care that's given in those first few critical minutes can absolutely change a patient's entire outcome. A person's survival really hinges on 3 key actions from those first responders. Number 1, rapid transport, obviously. But just as important is giving an early sepsis alert to the hospital. That call makes sure a specialized team is assembled and waiting the second they arrive. And all the way there, they're continuously monitoring vitals, tracking the patient's response in real time. And that really brings us to the core message here, which this quote just sums up perfectly. In this battle, you can't rewind the clock. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Recognizing the signs early and acting decisively, well, it's everything. The tricky thing about sepsis is that it can hide in plain sight, looking a lot like other, less severe illnesses. So, knowing what you know now about how fast the body's own defenses can turn against it, what's the biggest thing that's going to stick with you? Because awareness really is the first step in this fight.